Okay, so I'm going to review some of the introduction we did to using materials in SketchUp in class. So what you want to have open is you have your default tray tab here, and you want to have materials. So you want to like open up materials there so you can see all of the options. Of course, now it's going to go in save mode. So hold on, let's pause. Okay, now we're back. All right, if you're on a Mac, what you need to do is, I believe it's over here under Windows, and one of your options is to open up the materials, basically drop down. That'll come up over here. So it's not, you don't have a default tray, but also watch that video I sent you to sort of set this up to mimic this because it'll make your life a little easier. All right, so one of the things we're going to do is talk about the default things that are already in here. So in model, it's showing you the materials you've already used. So as you start to do more, it's going to populate and add more things to it. Then there's all these categories of things that are preloaded. So for example, they have carpet and wallpaper, but there's not a lot there. And frankly, it's not that attractive, some of them. Colors though, and colors names are great for painting in walls. So that's how we did that in class. We sort of walked through that first. I'll do a sample now just with some like a really bright color. Let's pick this like red kind of salmon color. So all you do is you click on the color. If your little paintbrush doesn't come up, what you need to do is have the paintbrush up here selected. It's also over here. So select your paintbrush, click on the color, then click on your wall. And then you can see this lovely bright red. Now, in my case, obviously I don't want to keep that. So another nice trick for materials in SketchUp is that it operates a lot like Photoshop, and we have this little eyedropper tool. If you're over here in edit, it's grayed out, but you need to put on select here, this little button here, pick the eyedropper tool, and I can now click on there. That's going to bring up that tan paint I had on there originally, and then I can paint here. Another nice trick is some of you were discovering that you loaded some models in that already had some nice textures to them. So for example, like this Carrara marble is pretty nice. So if I take that eyedropper tool again, click on the Carrara marble, there it is. And then I can use it if I want to kind of paint in other surfaces in here too. So if I wanted to do this guy here, so this piece of countertop is already a slab that I created and it's a component. So you're going to right click the edit component. And then one of the tricks I did forget to mention in class is you're going to click on this, right click, and you can say select all connected, like all the connected surfaces, or all with same material. And then you go ahead and you paint it now. I think it's going to pause for a second. And there's the paint. I got the paint bucket. I got my Carrara marble. Click on it. And now the whole thing's marble. So that is actually a quicker way to paint your cabinet. So I'll remind everybody of that too. So a lot of these cabinets will let you repaint them that way also. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to actually Control Z to bring it back to the material I liked already. Okay. So a couple other things we reviewed. So colors work really nicely. There's some decent wood. So if we get down here to wood, this is the floor I have in here now. It's fine. This one isn't so great. It looks rather cartoony. So one of the things I definitely would encourage you to do is get different wood textures online. So we'll review that in a minute. We also though want to remember that when we make a new texture to basically rename or reload a picture to the same kind of surface. So like when we do our countertops, we want to use stone. There's a granite here, there's a marble there. So we want, and there's a marble there too. We want to try to find an existing texture already in SketchUp that's as close to what we want to do, because there's additional kind of programming going on behind the scenes of how, and it doesn't really show up here. It doesn't really show up until you do photorealistic rendering, but it's going to control how light bounces off this surface. So basically like how shiny and glossy this is. And also like if it's transparent, like glass, or if it's something like fabric or texture that's not going to reflect light and instead it's going to like absorb light. So this will be kind of a bigger issue when we get into photorealistic rendering. But I want you to get into the habit now of when you create a custom material, you're going to use something already similar to it as its base. So we're going to do that now. So let me go over to, I'm going to show you kind of the texture libraries, talk about that for a minute. So here on our class Moodle, so it's under the heading of 3D modeling, interior design. Here, I'll kind of click back so you can find where that is. Here's the headline there, 3D modeling, interior design. Here's our links to families like for cabinetry and furniture and things like that. If we scroll down, It's the Seamless Texture Libraries right here. So you want to click on that link. This is the one we did together in class. This is one that a couple of the older students and I were talking about that they really like. It's a much smaller database, but it's really well curated, meaning like the tiles that you might want to use, say, for like your backsplash in your kitchen, some of the flooring options are really nice, high quality, much more in line with what we'd be picking as interior designers. This is plenty of this too, but this also has a lot of older dated kind of textures, and that's because this also people use this for like creating video games and things like that, and all sorts of other art options you might want this for, where this guy is definitely curated for like interior designers. But we're going to start with this one because this one has some great marble and floor patterns too. So I already have it up here. If you don't have an account already, you're going to need to register. So there's a button over here to say register. Create yourself an account. It's free. If you're a student, obviously let them know you're a student, but there's no problem with that at all. All right, so I'm already logged in. I'm going to click on textures. And then also note, sometimes a pop-up ad comes up on this a lot. It's not a scam. Just close the ad. It's just how this site works. So here under architecture, I'm going to click architecture. And for our countertops in class, we were looking at marble slabs. So we can go here and kind of pick any color you want. So I'm going to go back to like a creams and just find something in that family. So let's just look at this one for now. So we'll bring in this one. Oh, okay. So this is one of those ads that pops up. So we say, just close it. There'll usually be a button or a close option. Once you're a member and you've logged in, you don't need this high resolution one for the kind of work we're doing. These guys work just fine, and they work just fine in Enscape too when we render in that. So you're gonna hit download. It's gonna download it as a zip file. So I'll open that up quick so you can see. Especially best practice in class is move this folder to your class file folder. But what you're going to do is unzip it. So you're going to just say extract all. I've got a bunch in there, you can see too. I'm just going to leave it here in my downloads just for time. So when you open it up, there's just literally this little picture of it. And that's what we're going to use for our texture. One thing we talked about in class, it's really critical, is these kind of sites that I've given you links to are seamless textures, meaning this image will kind of like paint itself in a way that there won't be like jaggedy lines. There won't be a weird kind of offset to the pattern too. So all of these links that I have available to you, they're all seamless. So that's really important to remember. As you get more confident in this, I'll help you edit pictures that maybe you get from like a real tile manufacturer online, but we're going to do that in Photoshop, and we want to be like really precise when we do that. All right, so here, if I'm going to make this new countertop material, what I'm going to do is I already have, I picked this stone right here, this granite. Actually, the one I picked is kind of, I think, a marble, so a little bit more shiny. So I might use this marble as a base. I'm going to click on this box here. So it looks like a little box with a little plus sign. This is saying I'm making a new texture. So I'm just going to call this one cream marble. So far, I'm not going to have to change too much here. I'm going to, right here is though where it's getting the image, the picture to make this texture. So I'm going to click on that little folder. That's going to, then I'm going to navigate to where I've downloaded the new picture. So it's right here. It's this cream one. Say okay. So you've got to remember where you've stored your file. Now in class, you might have to play with the size of this too, depending on how this guy kind of like paints itself in. So we'll say okay. All right, and then it's going to take a minute or so to pop up here as my new texture, but then we'll repaint this little slab over here too, just see what it looks like. Okay, there it is. All right, so we're going to click on, so I've still got my paintbrush active. I've got this guy active. Get my pointer. I'm going to right click this again. So edit component. I'm going to say select all connected. Then with my paintbrush, I'm going to paint in what's this new kind of more speckly cream. And there it is there. And to me, I think that pattern is probably oversized. So if I wanted to make this pattern a little bit smaller, all I have to do is go into edit, and I can change the scale here. So let's try 1 foot by 1 foot, and then see on the screen how it got a little bit smaller. I don't know, let's try 2 foot, 2 foot. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so you can kind of play with this. We also, a lot of folks were downloading wood patterns for their floor. Trick for that is your wood planks, so the long rectangular pieces, can be anywhere from 3 inches to up to 12 inches. 12 inches is called like barn board, where it's like those nice wide planks. This image is a little bit blurry. This one is from SketchUp, but if I were to paint, or if I were to measure from here to here, oh, sorry, it's like rolling again. All right, so if I were to measure, say, from here to here, that's roughly looks like about 4, almost 5 inches. That's fine. That's actually a real world scale. They're generally going to be 3-inch planks, 4, 6, like that. So just double check some of your scale. If you have questions for me, obviously in class, I'm happy to kind of troubleshoot that with you. But this is our just kind of first intro into painting in materials that are already there, and then making our own custom one. And you'll be doing a lot more of this, making your custom one, as we work through this program in next year too.